A man's sister died. He locked himself in a room. 10 days later, he had a play. Daryl Hannah turned down the lead role. Meg Ryan took it and left. Winona Ryder was too young. Laura Dern didn't get it. A complete unknown named Julia Roberts walked in from the set of a pizza movie and changed everything. Steel Magnolias, 1989. 6 women, 1 Louisiana beauty shop, and behind the camera, one of the strangest, most heartbreaking production stories Hollywood has ever produced. 16 facts, bring a tissue, or don't. These women would tell you to toughen up. Fact 1. He wrote it in 10 days. For a 2-year-old boy who would never know his mother. Robert Harling's sister Susan died in 1985 from diabetes complications. She left behind a 2-year-old son with no memory of her. A friend told Harling to write something. He sat down. 10 days later, he had a play. It started as a short story, but he needed to hear the voices of the women from his hometown. So it became a play. 10 days later, that's all it took, because I had lived the story. He was afraid the boy would grow up calling someone else mama. He wrote Susan back into existence. Fact 2. Daryl Hannah was offered Shelby first. She said no thanks, and asked to play the weird one instead. The producers wanted Hannah for the lead, the dying young mother, the emotional center. Hannah looked at Shelby, looked at Annelle, the shy, strange newcomer, and chose the side character. She'd never played a character role before. Showed up to the audition barely recognizable on purpose. Glamour stripped, nothing like Splash. It worked, and it opened the door for Plan B, C, D, and finally Plan E. Fact 3. Meg Ryan had the role. She dropped it for a movie with Billy Crystal. With Hannah out, they cast Meg Ryan. The day the offer was confirmed, she called back. She'd just been offered When Harry Met Sally. In Steel Magnolias, I'd be part of an ensemble. This is my chance to be a leading lady. When Harry Met Sally made her a star. What she left behind made Julia Roberts one. Both women made the right call. The universe sorted it out, just not the way anyone planned. Fact 4. After Meg Ryan, Winona Ryder. After Ryder, Laura Dern. Then finally, a girl from a pizza movie. Winona Ryder was considered next, too young at 16. Then Laura Dern. Didn't land it. Finally, casting director Hank McCann mentioned a girl finishing some movie about pizza. Roberts walked in fresh from Mystic Pizza. 7 credits, completely unknown. The moment she smiled, Harling knew. That's my sister. McClane called her agent the same day. Steel Magnolias was the last film Julia Roberts would ever make as a nobody. Fact 5. Bette Davis called. Harling thought it was a prank. Harling's phone rang. A voice announced itself as Bette Davis. He assumed a friend was joking. He said he didn't have time. The voice repeated, Bette Davis. She invited him to tea and pitched herself as Weird. Katharine Hepburn as Clary, Elizabeth Taylor as Malin. Parting line, you may give the role of Weird to someone else, but you and they will hear from Bette Davis. The role went to Shirley MacLaine. Davis died in 1989, the same year the film came out. She was right to fight for it. Fact 6. Julia Roberts came to the Harlings' house for burgers and brought poetry, and Dolly Parton came too. Before filming, Roberts needed the blessing of Harling's parents. She kept coming over. His father grilled hamburgers in the backyard. Roberts talked, wrote poems, read them out loud. Dolly Parton would drop by, sit on the sofa, and play guitar. Harling called it just beyond surreal. Roberts wasn't preparing lines. She was collecting a person, piecing together Susan through secondhand love and backyard evenings. When the cameras rolled, she wasn't playing a character. She was honoring someone else's daughter. Fact 7. The director was brutal, especially to Roberts. The cast had to stage an intervention. Herbert Ross had lost his wife just 2 years before filming. He brought that grief to set, badly. Brutal toward Roberts especially, reducing her to tears regularly. Sally Field called him a real son of a bitch about it. McClane confronted him directly. You've been behaving badly since Nora died, and it isn't respectful to her or to us. He also told Dolly Parton to take acting lessons. McClane, you don't say that to Dolly Parton. She will cut you to ribbons. Parton didn't respond. She just kept being magnificent. Fact 8. The Truvy role was written for someone else entirely, and Dolly Parton never once complained. Harling wrote Truvy for his friend Margot Martindale, who originated the role off-Broadway. Then Dolly Parton stepped in and made it permanent. During filming, the cast sweltered through Christmas scenes in 100-degree Louisiana summer heat. Full winter wardrobe, coats, fur. Everyone wilted. Roberts asked Parton why she never complained. Parton smiled. When I was young and had nothing, I wanted to be rich and famous, and now I am. So I'm not going to complain about anything. Nobody argued with that. Now it gets heavy. The casting stories are done. The real story starts here. What it actually took to make Steel Magnolias, and what one mother needed to see before she could go home. Fact 9. Harling played the minister himself. At the wedding and the funeral, Harling wrote the screenplay. He adapted his sister's death for the screen. Then Ross asked him to play the minister, Shelby's wedding and her funeral, both. He spent 2 days on set, guiding his fictional sister through the happiest and most devastating moments of her life. He wrote her story, he watched someone else live it. Then he stepped into the frame and said goodbye himself. Fact 10. Harling wrote Soap Dish because Sally Field complained about her clothes at Pictionary. After long shoot days, the cast gathered every night. Games, dinner, conversations. One evening Harling asked, "What role would you most like to play?" Parton said Medea. McLean said she'd never played an alcoholic. Roberts just wanted to keep working. Sally Field said, "I always play noble women in crummy clothes. For once, I'd like to play a bitch who gets to wear nice clothes." Harling went home and wrote Soap Dish, an entire movie, from one Pictionary complaint. Fact 11. The real doctors played themselves. The real nurse turned off the machine. Again, Ross hired Susan Harling's actual medical team to play Shelby's doctors and nurses. The nurse who turns off the life support is the same nurse who did that for the real Susan 4 years earlier. In front of a camera, she did it twice. Harling said it added a gravity impossible to manufacture. You can feel it. It isn't acting, it's memory. Fact 12. The cemetery scene was filmed in one take. Nobody moved when it was over. Sally Field's breakdown at the graveside. The scene everyone quotes, the scene that should have won every award it didn't, happened once. One take. She'd spent hours screaming into a pillow to wreck her voice. When the camera rolled, Ross just let her go. The cast cried off camera. When Field finished, nobody moved. The crew stood still. No one knew what to say. Sometimes you can't direct grief. You just get out of its way. Fact 13. Harling's mother sat on set for the life support scene. She waited to see Julia Roberts stand up. Harling begged his mother not to come. Too painful. She came anyway. Sat through it without a word. Afterward, he asked why. She told him, "I wanted to see Julia get up and walk away. Not the performance, not the accuracy. She needed to watch the woman playing her dead daughter stand up, alive, and walk off set." In real life, she never got that. On a movie set in Louisiana, just for a few seconds, she did. Fact 14. The armadillo groom's cake was real. Susan actually had one at her wedding. The groom's cake, shaped like a gray armadillo, sliced open to reveal red velvet inside, wasn't invented for the script. Susan Harling had an actual armadillo cake at her real wedding. Harling put it in verbatim. The New York Times later credited him with sparking the red velvet cake revival of the 1990s. He called that one of my great life achievements. He meant it as a joke. He was probably not entirely joking. Fact 15. The house from the film is now a bed and breakfast. You can sleep in Shelby's room. The Cook-Taylor house in Natchitoches, built around 1841, where Sally Field and Julia Roberts brought the Eatonton family to life, is now a bed and breakfast. 6 suites, each named after a character. The Shelby Room, Blush and Bashful Pink. Guests eat breakfast in the same dining room where the cast filmed. The family who lived there moved out during production. They had no idea the house would still be receiving pilgrims 35 years later. Fact 16. Harling's nephew found out he was cool at school because Julia Roberts played his mother. Susan's son was 2 years old when she died. Harling wrote the play so the boy would have something, some version of who she was, before the memories faded. Years later, as a teenager, the boy was having a hard time. Harling checked in. The nephew said, "Don't worry, everyone thinks I'm really cool, because Julia Roberts played my mom." Harling said it hit him like a ton of bricks. He'd written something for a 2-year-old who would never remember his mother, and somehow it had found him anyway. A man locked himself in a room for 10 days. He came out with a play. Daryl Hannah passed, Meg Ryan walked. A girl from a pizza movie walked in and smiled. And somewhere in Louisiana, a teenage boy found out he was cool because his mother had been played by the biggest star in the world, Steel Magnolias, still the toughest, most delicate thing Hollywood ever made.